They tell the story about a history professor who turned to his class and said, "My dear students, tell me the author and the date of the following declaration." Who said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country"? Who said it and when? Very good, but the students didn't know. They didn't know. One boy knew, a boy from Japan. He came to study in the United States from Japan. He said, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, January 22nd, 1961, during his inauguration address, he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." JFK. The teacher was impressed. He tells the kids, "You lazy good-for-nothings, learn from the Japanese. Here is a boy from a foreign culture, and yet he displays so much perseverance and dedication. Look at him," and for 20 minutes he's extolling the virtues of the Japanese, until there's a voice heard from the back of the classroom, and you'll excuse me, friends, I just want to tell the story the way it happened. One of the students shouts, "The hell with the Japanese already." The teacher was dumbfounded. 20 years in the classroom, nobody ever spoke to him this way. He screams, "Who said that?" And the student says, "Harry Truman, 1945. I tell you this because when I was flying here and thinking about the opening of the mikveh here in Berlin, I realized if the secret of mikveh was so powerful in the Jewish world throughout the generations, how much more significance does it have when a new 5-star, luxurious, beautiful mikveh is opened here in Berlin? If 65 years ago you would have asked somebody in the streets of Berlin, or 70 years ago, what's the future of mikveh, not only in Berlin or in Germany, in the whole world? Mikveh. Mikveh, which represents the beginning of intimacy, the birth of Jewish life, what the husband and wife engage in before they come together to enjoy each other, to enjoy their relationship, and perhaps also to create a child if the time and the moment is appropriate with God's help. The future of the mikveh is garnished, it's gone, it's dead. And the people who believed in mikveh, together with their mikveh, will dry up. And yet, even in those years, for the Jews who could, they never let go of the mikveh. And somebody who wonders, is the mikveh really powerful? Look, a few decades later, a few short decades later, in this city, this community is sitting this Sunday afternoon and celebrating a new, beautiful mikveh to continue the rejuvenation, Jew as in J-W, of Jewish marriages, of Jewish sexuality, of Jewish intimacy, of new Jewish life. You're looking for miracles. I can only imagine those of us here in the room or around the city who will embrace this great opportunity of using the mikveh. When the holy women of Berlin will go down into the water, going back to where it all began. I can imagine, I can see you connecting with hundreds of generations of your mother and grandmother and great-grandmother and great-great-grandmother all the way back to Sarah, who are in heaven and will stand over the mikveh. Hooray, hooray, they will shout. The people lives, the spirit lives, the innocence lives, and the ability to bring purity and holiness into the world lives. The last few nights, it was difficult for me, as I know it was difficult for Rabbi Teil, and for countless other Chabad ambassadors around the world to fall asleep at night. It was the first time in the history of Chabad, in the modern history of Chabad, that an ambassador of Chabad on duty in their Chabad house serving dinner to Israeli backpackers, to visitors, to people who in the far city of Mumbai came into a Jewish center to pray, to learn, to get an embrace, to eat good geschmacky Yiddish essen. Him and his wife on duty as the Lubavitcher Rebbe's ambassadors in far Mumbai, in the midst of a difficult life, no Jewish education, no Jewish infrastructure, no supermarket, no kosher. Our colleague Gabi Holzberg used to shecht himself 100 chickens a week. He would feed 800 Jews a week. 800 Jews passed through that Chabad house a week. Of all walks of life, religious and secular, left-wingers, right-wingers, Orthodox, Reform, Conservative, Reconstructionists, assimilated Israeli searchers. Together with his wife, he would clean the chickens and prepare them and cook them. And on duty Wednesday night, they were gunned down together with the other Jews, other 7 Jews there in the Chabad house, together with hundreds of other innocent people throughout the city, and with the worst terrorist attack in India, one of the worst in the world. And for the Jewish world and for the Chabad world, it's a very big blow. Tremendous, tremendous blow of pain and grievance and loss and anger. And so many incomprehensible questions. 2 of the finest people. You talk about nice people, and then there's people who selflessly sacrifice everything. Their 2-year-old was saved, as you know, Moshe by the nanny who took him out of the house. And Shabbos he celebrated his 2nd birthday. But he didn't know that his 2nd birthday he was celebrating with both of his parents' soul in heaven. And now he'll be raised with his grandparents in Afula in Israel. The parents of his mother, the Rosenbergs, who will, I'm sure, give him all the love and precious affection that grandparents could give, but a father and mother won't. And the Jewish world has been shaken. Chabad world has been terribly, terribly shaken. Any 2 such deaths is an unparalleled tragedy. Never mind, they were 2 ambassadors of the Jewish world, dedicated heart and soul to the Jewish people. They were there for one reason, not for business, not for vacation, not for pleasure, but to reach out, to touch hearts, to build bridges, to create a home and community for Jews who sometimes wander so far to India, and there are many of them, thousands upon thousands every year. And it's a very difficult moment. And I was thinking about it and rethinking it and rethinking it. And then I remembered, and this is what I want to conclude with, my dear friends. One of the great insights I once heard, in the Jewish language, there are 3 words for a cemetery. You know that in the Jewish language, in the Hebrew tongue, we have 3 words for a cemetery. You know the 3 names? Bet HaKvarot, Bet Almin, Bet HaChayim. A house of burial, a house of eternity, a huis van eeuwigheid, and Bet HaChayim, a huis van Leben, a house of life. Why 3 names? Burial, eternity, and life.